All right, welcome to Master the Game. I'm Juice with my wonderful $10 patrons and above. Tonight we have we're going to try to be a little bit structured. One of our patrons, Dave from Tactical Tokens, has given me a wonderful list of things he would like to discuss, and I think everyone's on board with it. So I think we're gonna try and tackle those topics. But yeah, so go check out his tokens. I have them right here. They're sweet. I love them. They're really cool. And Paula loves them too, by the way. We were talking about those a couple weeks ago on stream. And actually, Roll Stats, weren't you going to be ordering some soon? Or you talked about getting some, didn't you?
Yeah, I definitely want to get some.
Sorry, not putting you on the spot on purpose.
No, not at all. No, I absolutely want to get some. Right. Things have been a little crazy for me with work, and then just bad food and life, and yeah. But no, I definitely Kickstarter, and so I'm leery about ordering. No, I'm kidding.
This is a real product that's out in the world,
right. No, and they're honestly they're fantastic. I'm gonna order some for sure.
So the funny thing about all this is the very first thing on Dave's list from a couple weeks ago was Kickstarter versus other platforms. But before we get into that, I do want to say, Peter, your video, again, I've mentioned it on every single live stream since I've seen it, is damn hilarious. How much would it cost to get you to make videos like that for every campaign? What are your commissions? What are your rates?
Time. Can I just get more time?
Oh, I wish I knew how to, generate that.
So Drake, I will say, right, in my feverish haze of things coming out both ends, right, that I don't know if it was like fever-induced sort of hysteria, but that was probably the most hysterical thing that I have ever seen. I watched it, shared it, watched it again, laughed out loud, laughed until I cried, laughed until I hurt, and then basically trolled Juce for a while, telling him what an awful, savage, mean DM he is. So yeah, and I'm pretty sure the PETA and ASPCA people are going to want to be reaching out to Juce pretty soon for his penchant for killing felines. So,
I didn't kill a cat; it was a tressum. You show me a cat with wings, and I'm going to kill it. I'm just legit, and then I'm going to make some hot wings.
Yeah, well, there you go.
Thank you very much.
So I do want to quickly apologize. So O'Neill Flynn, the other day I called you, I think Matt Flynn, and I realized why, because Matt Flynn was an NFL quarterback, and so I see Flynn and I associate it with an NFL quarterback. So he wasn't very good, but he did get a really big contract by Seattle. But yeah, so anyways, so Kickstarters versus other platforms, guys. How many have you backed? What has been your overall experience with it? What is your go-to? I mean, you don't have to get personal. I know there's some bad blood for some of them right now. I've had good luck, but I haven't backed very many personally. So why don't we start with you, Dave? Since you brought up the question.
Well, the original thing is that in a couple of the groups that I'm in kept talking about GameFound, which is currently completely free. It started as a pledge manager, but now they're starting to host. I got to double check it, but I think they're starting to host just campaigns solely. And at the same time, Kickstarter is now experimenting with add-ons built in to projects. They're letting a couple creators and projects allowing them pledge to make their own kind of like add-on store at the end of it. Because I mean, the shift is that basically GameFound, Pledge Manager, Backer Kit, they're all essentially, at least what I see in Kickstarter's mind, is like they're taking money from Kickstarter.
It's like an extra thing you go to after you've backed something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So almost like a kind of a pre-existing storefront then, like projects that have already been published and are available currently, I guess is what I'm trying to get at, or because Kickstarter is like things that are like, we're proposing to do this. In other words, it's not created yet and we're going to create it. GameFound is more like these things have already been created and go here and buy them.
It started as essentially like a late pledge kind of thing where if you've missed the Kickstarter campaign, here's basically a second campaign to go contribute.
Yeah.
And,
yeah, like
and,
Nerdarchy did it for a long time. Like their thing ended, and then you could still go in and buy their book through it ahead of time.
Yeah.
So that's one that I've seen for sure do that. I backed Savage Rifts a few years ago, the first one. They've now done a new Kickstarter, I think, for a revised version within the last 3 years. And when we did it before, you could purchase stuff that was even in the Kickstarter also. So not just stuff that's out in the world, but you could also purchase stuff that is now associated with that Kickstarter. Like if you want to buy extra books or whatever as well.
and a lot of them use it to make to basically as a storefront to sell add-ons. So or allow people to like change their tier post campaign kind of thing. Like I did it with mine, where if you pledged at a certain level, but like you wanted one extra token of something else, you could get it on basically the store. But the other thing that made me think about this is we're launching a new product line this Thursday, and we were like, it's big enough where it could deserve a Kickstarter, but it'd be faster and easier if we could like raise the funds ourselves. So let's see how difficult it is to build Kickstarter's platform on our own site. And it turned out it was pretty easy.
Oh,
All you really need to do is accept credit cards.
So here's my thought on that, right? I have separate thoughts on Kickstarter, but my thought on that, so for me, as someone who backs a lot of Kickstarters, right? I think one of the reasons that you back a Kickstarter is because you're getting Kickstarter exclusive stuff that wouldn't be available anywhere else. So in other words, if you're willing to take the risk and back early, you get, and I'm not necessarily talking about the stretch goals, but like, you're getting things that aren't necessarily available after the fact. I think if you take that away, there's no incentive to invest early in a Kickstarter. Wait for it to publish and just buy the stuff, the retail stuff that everybody else is getting, right? Like I think if you're going to run a Kickstarter, you have to offer some additional value add that nobody else is going to get. It has to be sort of exclusive. Otherwise, why would you take the risk? Just wait for it to publish and purchase it, right? Or am I looking at that wrong?
No, that's completely correct. Were there any that any of us backed that like had the exclusive stuff, and it was like the exclusive stuff that sold us?
No.
On the thing?
No, I just really wanted the product as first day it came out.
That's why I like the discount that I would get.
So I would say from a collector's perspective, I am a pretty big collector, right? Like, so limited edition items, are a big draw to me. In fact, I would say the more limited edition things that are added to the Kickstarter project, that is a bigger draw to me than a discount, because, like and it's not even, I want them to gain value or whatever. I just like to collect RPG, accessories, supplements, and that sort of thing. And if it's a limited edition sort of thing, I dig it, man. Like that's my trigger button. Like they should send me emails all day long that are like, hey, if you only the first
special edition cover. Yeah.
Right. Like the first 1,000 backers are going to get this, and I'm in on day one. I mean, in fact, I'm waiting for it to open to like, and that I'm just saying that appeals to me. Right. So, I get that it doesn't appeal to everyone, but it definitely appeals to me. So.
If that was the only way to get like the special edition Wizards of the Coast D&D 5e books, I'd be all over it.
Yep.
Because those do appeal to me for like a similar reason.
Yep.
That's the only reason I got some of my books day one, knowing I wasn't going to run some of those modules.
Yep.
You know?
I feel like I'd be more inclined to spend more money or go out of my way for the alternate book titles if that was the only way to get it. Is like this extra campaign or this single thing. I don't know. It doesn't feel exclusive enough for me to just buy them on Amazon first.
Right.
Agreed. I don't think that I don't think you're supposed to be able to purchase them on Amazon. I think that the local game stores are actually selling them on Amazon, right? And then people purchase them and then sell them after the fact.
That's true. One of our local game stores is actually an Amazon distributor. And so our
right.
Citadel painting handle, when we ordered it, I had no idea where it was coming from. And then the package showed up and it said the store that one of the stores we go to for miniatures. I'm like, oh, well, shit, I would have just bought it while I was in the store if I knew. That they had that. But yeah.
But I do think exclusives. So I would say that, so even for your tactical tokens, if you're thinking that you don't want to go the Kickstarter route, that you want to, run some sort of campaign on your own site, I would still, if I were you, and I'm just saying as a consumer, right, as someone who would definitely buy into it, if you were to sell limited edition tokens. So like if you're one of the first 500 people to order this, you're going to get this special limited edition gold token, or like some, I don't know,
early bird special tiers that you see sometimes. Yeah,
I would be all about that. I would totally buy into that. And I know I can't be the only one. Like, that is a tried and true marketing technique that has worked since the beginning of time, right? So I dig it, and I think that's the draw, at least for me, to Kickstarter, right? Mm-hmm. Is sort of the, like, you're getting stuff that is not necessarily being released for retail. It's not necessarily the discount for me. I don't really care. And I don't mean that, like, I'm just saying, like, to me, it's more the scarcity, the limited edition, like, aspect of it that draws me more than anything else.
The Hero Quest Pulse Kickstarter thing, they're doing it on Pulse instead of Kickstarter, which is their own thing from Hasbro. Like, I want to back that so bad. It's like $150, which obviously is a huge discount, especially since you're getting the game, a reissue of the game with like new art, new miniatures, and then you're getting 2 expansions right now. Actually, it's up to 3 now. You also, not only do you get the original 4 heroes, but you also get them as female gendered. So now you have male and female. Then they've added, they've already unlocked the Warlock and Druid. I'm assuming those are also going to have male and female, but right now I've only seen 1 for each, which is both male. And they're about to unlock another Bard character, and I think another adventure tier. And no price up increase. It's still $150. They only have 2 tiers, 100 for just the base game or 150 for everything. And it's like, so $150, you're going to get the game, at least 3 or 4 add-ons, a bunch of extra miniatures. Like, you're getting, when it comes down to it, I think by the time it's done, you're probably spending $1 per miniature. Not to mention the game itself, the booklets, and and then who knows if it ever goes to retail? Because I guess other things they've done have never gone to retail.
But that's what I'm saying. So, like, but even if it does go to retail, like pre-order, which is essentially, that's all we're talking about. Kickstarter is just pre-order. You're paying for it before, like, it's available. Or even like if you were to put out a special set of tactical tokens on your site, but you wanted people to pre-order it, you have to give them a reason. And you can either offer them a discount or you can give them cool stuff. To me, I would rather have the cool stuff, and it's probably more beneficial to the manufacturer, because then, so you create 500 solid gold tokens, but the cost of those 500 tokens gets built into the cost of the whole, like, you see, but it still makes, like, it makes it special for those people who are going out of their way and risking those dollars to purchase up front. So,
shoot, I forgot what I was going to say, but Guns of the Great in chat said you don't need to crowdfund if you can build a fan base, and that's essentially what we're experimenting with, is seeing if our fan base is large enough, because it's not necessarily a crowdfund, it's more of a crowd sale. Of regardless, even if we sell 1 token, we have a method of manufacturing just 1. But if we sell enough, we can better manufacture a large number of them. And a solid gold token would be amazing to be able to produce at one point. But the best we can do right now is like first edition, where they're just like, they designate that they're first edition somewhere on the token, and it's the first 100 people to buy it, get it, and then the rest are just normal.
And that's what I'm saying. It doesn't have to be a solid gold token. I was just but it's some sort of commemorative token, right? That's numbered, right? Like, so they're numbered 1 through 500, and you can, I mean, that's something that a collector is interested in. Something
I have a
that
Gen Con 50 2 Gen Con 50 D6s.
Well, see, there you go. Right.
I didn't need another D6, but
I honestly, I think there's a draw to it. And I think it's minimal effort for like this massive reward. The consumer feels really good and they feel
I was gonna say it
special.
preys on consumerism. Like all of us who are like, we want it.
But I mean, right. But I mean, like,
not a
there's
bad
nothing
deal.
wrong with nothing wrong with a company or a manufacturer giving their fan base, their consumers, what they want, right?
100%.
Like, I mean,
I agree.
yeah. So, yeah.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. And at the same time, doesn't crowdfunding it gives you time to produce it, right? Because you don't have to have it like sent the next day.
Yeah.
Right.
And it gives you a little bit of extra marketing too, almost. Like people see it crowdfunded, especially if there's stretch goals. They're like, I want them to unlock those stretch goals since I backed it. And so they share it too.
Yeah, the stretch goals are nuts. You were talking about it with the Hero Quest and all the things.
They're at
where,
3
like,
million, I think, almost. Or
it gets to a certain point where it's like, oh, it'd be dumb of me not to just give them the extra 50.
Yeah.
So I can get all this other stuff.
Yeah.
But the math of that was, at least for mine, was real difficult to figure out because the desire is to, if a stretch goal gets unlocked, the people at this particular level get it, free, no additional charge.
Right.
And then, I wish I paid more attention in algebra to come up with those scales. Like, okay, we only need to raise $1,000 and then we can unlock this stretch goal. But to get $1,000, we got 400 new backers. And that means 400 new of these and it's extra cost. Oh, crap.
Yeah. Well, but then there's always, after the fact, it's always like if you back at a specific level, and then the stretch goals get hit and it becomes available, they allow you to sort like you can buy those as add-ons after the fact. So they're still making money on the back end. Like in addition, I guess what I'm saying is in addition to the new backers, they're also getting money on the back end because you can add it to your cart when you do your final checkout and give your shipping address. And I've done that several times, right? Like, so I know that because again, I want that thing, whatever that is. So yeah.
And the most excited I've seen backers is in that stretch goal unlocking phase from both sides, as both a backer and a runner of Kickstarter. It's like I've raised my pledge by like a couple dollars just to because I know it would help to get to the next the next thing.
Yeah. So when Pacesetter Games put out their BX, they just put out they're doing a new BX campaign, which actually funded. I not only did I pledge fully, and not only did I share it, I actually did a video where I said, hey man, I like this Kickstarter so nice, I want to back it twice, and I gave away a backing to somebody else. Hey, if you share this video, because I wanted to, because I was so excited about this Kickstarter, and I wanted it, to get the additional artwork, to get the additional adventures, and like
you feel part of it too at that point.
Exactly. You feel right. You feel like, and especially if it's something, again, if it's something that you really want and that you're really excited about, you want everyone else to be excited about it, right? You want to hit those stretch goals. So yeah.
Yep, I agree. So does that answer your question? You like it, Dave?
I had a question. What was?
Oh, I mean about the Kickstarter in general.
Oh yeah.
So what exactly are you putting out Thursday? Are you able to tell us?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I just didn't want to,
Yeah, you're good.
But we're finally getting back into printed tokens. So our first Kickstarter was printed tokens. I handcrafted 30,000 of them plus over the course of a year and a half and delivered them to the 160 people that backed.
Successfully on time?
Yeah. Well, we were a little late, but that was a logistics nightmare. And then Kickstarter 2 was blanks because we realized people, that the dry erase nature of it was what people really wanted.
Okay.
So it was more utility and more versatile for the user if there was just nothing printed on the token.
Yeah.
So we launched blank tokens, and then immediately after successfully funding and delivering blank tokens, everybody was like, so you doing printed again?
Yeah, the custom ones.
Yeah, now we want, like, okay, we got the blanks, we can use them for whatever, but it would be really cool if we got a goblin or a skeleton or whatever. So we collaborated with Devin Knight, one of the illustrators. A lot of his stuff is on Roll20. I think even Fantasy Grounds uses some of his things. Kobold Press has used him for certain artworks. But we collaborated with him, and they're like, okay, what are the most common creatures or enemies people would want? And that's what we're launching with for our first, we call them tactical drops.
So you're gonna have like monster sets.
Yeah.
Or kits.
That's what we're starting with.
I love that.
All right, and so what? I love that too. I'm all in. So A, what are the exclusives for early backing, and B, what are the stretch goals? Like, yeah, right.
Well, at the moment, because this is our first one, the first 100 will be limited edition prints
Nice.
that'll say first edition on them in a fancy, unobtrusive way, and then the rest will just be normal after that. So there might not necessarily be a second run or a third run, even though there will technically. But
Right.
The only way to get first edition is if you're one of the first 100 people.
See?
And that's
I think it's
And I'm in on that. Yeah,
so
right.
question. So say you have a goblin on it.
Yep.
What's the other side going to be?
well,
So
with
top
the-
side
with the-
might be goblin, right? Is it
Yeah.
the other side going to be like a bloodied goblin, a dead goblin,
I was
or
just
a
gonna
different
say,
monster?
I have a suggestion, right? Top side should be Goblin Live, flip it, and it's Goblin Dead,
That's
right?
what
Like,
I want.
Yeah.
I actually think that's a phenomenal idea, and I would definitely back that,
See
right?
if we could do something here. You might not be able to hear me. Let me
Oh
see
no,
if
we
I
can hear you.
Let's turn on. Let's turn on you. All right.
Oh, he sounds like a god now. Mere mortals. Oh, that's nice. We see somebody's been gaming online.
Yeah.
I love it.
All right. The visual isn't too great because I didn't have time to set up the lighting, but
yeah, we're starting with goblin, bandit, orc, zombie, and skeleton.
But on the back end is just a desaturated version of the color token.
That works.
So that could be whatever you want.
Yeah.
Is it gray then? Like more of a grayish color?
Yeah, it's more gray.
Okay.
So
That
what
works.
are the tiers going to be? Basically increased numbers. I mean, like, so you can get in at tier 1 for a set of 25, and then a tier 2 for a set of 50, and tier 3 for, like, is that how it's going to go?
Well, believe it or not, since with the first one, it's just you order as much as you want, and then the goals are based off of how many are ordered.
Gotcha. Oh, gotcha. Yeah.
So we're changing it up just a little bit from it's not a direct call
to Kickstarter, but
Yep.
yeah. So color on the one side, desaturated on the other. There's just like a hint of color left in it because it looks cool.
Mhm. And they're dry erase, so if you wanted to write dead on one side, you could, or unconscious.
Yeah,
Right.
I really enjoyed with just taking a red X.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or I'll use the red tokens because they stick together. I'll stick
And
a
just
red
put
one
it over
underneath
top.
for bloodied.
Yeah.
Yep.
Shoot, but yeah, the only like stretch goal we have is because each illustration is technically its own campaign, and the goal is 100 tokens sold. If they get 100 tokens, then it gets manufactured instead of handcrafted. Which, please, I hope every single one gets.
I was
to
gonna say that if
100.
you can figure out a way to automate it, you'll be in business, man.
Yeah. But yeah, if we get to 100, then it gets it becomes cost effective to have a machine do it instead of
Yeah.
me.
Now, would
but
that be you
if-
buying a machine, or you paying a company to manufacture them?
at the moment paying a company to manufacture? that is something we're slowly saving up for. But it's
Gotcha.
that's like the full. I did a quote for it a while ago. The full kind of manufacturing setup we would require is close to $300,000
Yeah, I believe that.
to get. So we'll put up with renting for much longer.
Right.
So it's cool that they're dry erase because you can sort of write a condition on there. What would be really cool is if there was some like dial on it where you could like, so blind, deafened, frightened, like
Yeah.
no, I'm serious. Like
Oh,
because
I know you are.
it's hard to track. It's hard to keep track of conditions, right? Like on the board, especially, if a creature's frightened or if a creature is blinded or if a creature is deafened or like, those types of conditions, it would be really cool to mark on the token.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, you could do it because it's dry erase. You could just write on there. But
Kinda
like,
tough,
I guess
yeah.
I'm imagining something, like a dial or something inside where there's a little window that shows and you could change it like
I would
that.
love
would
that.
actually that would be pretty cool.
I've seen a lot of there's been a lot of Kickstarters recently for condition ring.
Yeah, I
sets.
have condition rings that
Seen
Paula
them?
bought me for Christmas a couple years ago.
Yep.
They're sweet.
Because that's what I used before I moved to tokens. Was I just got colored bottle cap
Yeah.
rings.
Yep.
kinda stuck
Yep.
on the knee.
Awesome. All right, so let's pull up the next topic. And Peter, do you have anything you want to add? Or are you good?
When's that start? Thursday?
Yeah.
Yeah, Thursday morning this week. We're
Cool.
launching Tactical Drop 1 Common Creatures by Devin Knight.
So are you going Kickstarter or are you going on your site? How are you?
Completely self-hosted on the site.
Okay.
The
Do we have-
goal,
Tag
do we
me
have
on
the link?
Thursday, Dave. And I'll
Do we
share
have
it
the
around.
link in the description? Because I will definitely
yet.
go. Okay. All right. Okay.
I don't think I do. I might
Okay.
have it, but I doubt
but
it.
yeah, this is our first foray into self-hosting. This particular one's just a crowd sale, but eventually, I mean, if we could eliminate the 3% fee and all the other charges that Kickstarter and BackerKit have, we'll do it all
Yeah.
ourselves eventually. But at least the mechanism of displaying a goal and keeping track of purchases as they come through, that was really easy to figure out and develop ourselves. So
Yeah.
we'll happily, I mean, it allows us to launch faster,
Yeah.
much cheaper. Because like, let's say if we did it with Kickstarter, one, it's a larger project and it would require much more marketing, much more production. We'd have to do a video and all this extra stuff and write out the full page. If it's just on our site, we could launch another one a week from now.
Yeah.
So you're using, I guess, what's your back end? Are you using a CMS? Like, are you essentially using like a WordPress kind of back end? And like if you're using a WordPress backend, you could find plugins that just really right away, simple plug and play. So yeah,
there are some out there where like the free version of the plugin gives you one tier.
Yep.
And then I think it's like $30 or something for the full version.
Oh, wow.
And
That's not bad.
It like recreates Kickstarter in its entirety.
Yeah, that's what I was right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. The beauty of, I guess it's the draw and the setback of open source is that like, yeah, right. So someone will build everything, but they'll also steal your idea and build everything. So yeah, right.
Yeah. I mean, the eventual goal is to kind of offer it to other people that might want, like specifically artists or publishers that want token sets made.
Yeah.
Offer it almost as a software as a service, as be like, here, you could launch on our platform because it's for tokens and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we won't take 3 to 15% out of your thing.
Do it for a flat fee up front or something.
Yeah, or like 1%.
Yeah,
I have this obsession with 1% everything for some reason. It's like that's the
because
highest
that's the
I'll ever
bare.
want to go.
That's like an easy. You're like, look, I can't take any less.
Yeah,
that's an easy sell. Like
that's always been my goal. It's just like 1%.
That's awesome. Yeah, that sounds cool, man. I like what you're doing.
Yeah, I'm excited. Yeah. I will definitely. We need to get the link shared around. And
Agreed.
I will definitely show up on Thursday. So
Cool.
I'll pin a post. So I'll start a channel for upcoming Kickstarters and stuff or crowdfunding projects in my Discord, and we'll pin that. So I'll get that set
Yeah,
up tomorrow.
Would you prefer a link to the like page or like a blog post of?
Question is,
What
what
it
would you prefer,
says.
Dave?
yeah.
Do you want them just to go to your page and then hopefully stumble to the place you want and see other things and maybe buy stuff, or do you just want them going to the crowdfunding?
Personal
Sales.
phone number, or
I'll see.
home address.
I'll give my phone number out. Hold on.
So the digital marketing Bible says the less clicks the better, right? It should only be one click ideally. So
Right
yeah.
there.
Mhm.
My
Do this, go here. Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the next topic that came up was finding groups to play with. Now this comes up constantly. I am always asked by people, "Hey, where can I find a group?" I mean, people ask me in my own Discord, and I have maybe I have too many channels. I don't know, but in my own Discord, they're like, "Where can I find a group?" And I'm like, "Well, go down to the LFP channel looking for players." And there's always been people looking for a group there, right?
Yeah.
Typically the issue is if people want to play something other than 5e, it's a little bit harder to find a group, in my Discord. But there have been people who have found, like, we have a Monster of the Week game this week that is through, my Discord and things like that.
Awesome.
So it never would have happened if, people didn't join my Discord looking for groups. So, and even Pathfinder 2nd Edition, me jumping into that is kind of because people came to my Discord before I even had the game talking about 2nd Edition Pathfinder. I think that's the first conversations I had about it where I was like, maybe I should get into this. So again, if you join my Discord, that's a great place. But again, you are limited. We only have like 100 and some odd members. It is growing slowly but steadily. And now there are other places where you're going to have a lot better luck. I can right off the bat say Roll20. I've heard nothing but good things about finding players there. I believe Fantasy Grounds has something similar. There's an app I have called Game 4 that I've promoted before that does not have a strong presence in my area, but some of the bigger cities have a really strong presence. Meetup. In fact, I found a long time ago, I found some people through Meetup. Pen and Paper Games is like a message forum, I think, that I've found some people over the years as well. So there's a lot of places out there. Do you guys have any that you can think of or that you would recommend?
The other app I heard of, I don't know if it's too active anymore, but was Crawler, and it was spelled Web 2.0-y. So I got to look up how it's actually spelled, but like crawler.app or something.
So like CARWLR, they always drop the E. So,
yeah, it's an E's missing somewhere.
Yeah,
I hate that kind of stuff. But
also Facebook, there's I have one of the D&D groups has like pinned threads by state, I think. So in the United States. Cool. And so if you can find that, I think you have to go through the photos. I think that's how you find it. And it'll be your state flag. And then under it, people comment all the time. Someone gave me some free old Marvel character cards from like the 80s for the group. They're like, "Hey, I've got this extra thing. Anyone want it?" And I was like, "I'll take it if you can't find anyone." So he sent it to me. It was kind of cool. But and then there's also just in general, there's Facebook groups for finding players too out there.
So I don't really have any additional apps other than what you've said. I think that I have more of a generalized statement, right? Like,
go for it.
I'm going to say, and I feel like it's mixed, right? I am playing more now than I have played in years.
Yes.
I like the pandemic has, I think people have more time on their hands. People are more open to Zoom now. I am legitimately playing more now than I have in years.
You're welcome.
But here's what I'll say, right? Here's what I'll say. It scratches the itch, but it's not my ideal way to play, right? I would, I miss. Yeah, right.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, online is easy to find groups. I feel like for
Yeah.
me, it's been a lot easier the last 6 years online to find groups. In person has always been a struggle for me. I tried in the late 90s up through like 2006. I kind of gave up on trying to find a regular group. Played a little bit in chat rooms online, did some play by post. Hated play by post, never went back to it after 2011, 2010. And then luckily my wife was a gamer, and so we're like, oh, at least we can play. We can get my sister in it. And it wasn't the greatest games. It was fine. It was fun. But 2014, like online play became a lot easier. And then because of online, I found people locally too, which then became a home group. And, you know, but yeah, I agree with you, Bill. Like I like both, but they're two different experiences. I feel like like online is much more emotionally taxing for me when I play an online game. Like afterwards, I'm so wired, but like I'm mentally exhausted. Whereas in person is, for me, it feels much more laid back. And, you know, afterwards I'm still wired and excited, but I don't feel emotionally exhausted after the fact.
So I actually am the exact opposite. So
Okay.
I think that video, right, when we're doing this, there is a detachment. There's just a natural detachment. I'm looking at you, I'm talking to you, and we're vibing back and forth. But it's not the same as sitting at the table and really improving back and forth with someone, right? Like so it's much easier for me to detach online, right? Like, so okay, it's Drake's turn, right? Like he's figuring out what he's doing and I'm sort of zoning out. Whereas I feel like if you're at a table, you're not zoning out as well. I have a tendency, and I don't know if that's me, like in my sort of, I don't know, technology ADHD, right? But like I have this, it's like, okay, in other words, it's not really a group dynamic. You're waiting for your turn to talk. You know what I mean? And like, I guess that's what I miss about, tabletop as opposed to, videos.
I think in person as a player, I don't hang on to everybody's word. Whereas online, I feel like I'm much more focused because I'm looking at four faces. In person, I'm looking at the DM. Now I'm looking at the player over here. Now I'm looking, you know what I mean?
But you're not, so here's my thing,
you can
right?
pick up on cues a little better in person too.
Yeah, right. What I mean is like, right, there's more empathy going on. You're reading body language. You're seeing the DM's body language and like the look on their face and their eyes as they're saying that, like there's just this whole dynamic that plays out that I think gets lost. Online.
In-person games, I will sit there and snack the whole game session though. So I had a few years back when we were playing, Paula was DMing. We had some friends over and it was streamed. Actually, we streamed the game just for the heck of it. Terrible audio quality. Don't go back and watch it. But the game was actually quality. Like it was good. I think it's the single game campaign that changed how Paula plays. Because I brought my friends into it who are big on RP. We had Andre Martinez. We had my friend Brian, who runs Adventures League, but is a very narrative player, gets into character. And then a guy who used to work for me named Matt. And I was probably the least RP heavy person there, but I was playing a Goliath Barbarian and it was great because that's easy for me to role play. But there was a session where they brought Sour Patch Kids, sausages, mead, like all sorts of stuff. I think I had one mead. Other than that, I had a ton of sausages, which gives me heartburn. Some Sour Patch Kids, liquor. Like I had a ton of crap and I ate for like 2 hours straight. It was terrible. Afterwards, I was like, never again. So in person, I get distracted by the other stuff at the table. But it's I like the experience because I do feel more laid back, less, like I said, less focused. Like online is just, that's why online I can only do like 2 to 3 hour sessions. I don't like when we get past 4 hours because it's just so much for me.
And I totally get it. I just think when you're at a table, I think it's much easier to key off of another person, to 100%. Vibe off another person. It's easier to role play back and forth. Whereas I don't think you can necessarily get that.
I agree.
You can get that online.
You can't. Yeah. You don't. There's always this weird like, oh, can I talk now? Can I talk now? And that's the hard part, I think, online.
Yep.
And Paula doesn't talk over people. That's the other thing that's hard. When she plays, she will be the quietest person because she will not. And Bill, you and I will talk over everybody.
Oh yeah,
like, we're guilty.
I talk over people like it's my job. So yeah, right.
It's something I'm working on. I think I'm gonna get better at it. I really do. I'm really gonna try, and it's something I've been trying to work on for like 5 years strongly. And I notice I'm getting better. I don't know if other people notice I'm getting better. Paula says I'm getting better, so that's good. But.
I am not getting better. I try. I am not. I clearly admit that I'm not. So, but it's also, I would say that it's kind of a compliment to the other person, because if I am getting keyed up and excited and into the conversation, it means that you're like I dig it, right? So if I sit there with just like the sullen look on my face and I'm just like checking my phone every 30 seconds, well then
like post Tyranny of Dragons sometimes.
Well,
you can tell when Bill's done. He's like, just it's quiet.
Well, because I try to avoid that political conversation because I know where it's going to go, and so then I'm just like, okay, let's not.
I'm
do
with you,
it.
man.
So,
I'm gonna do the same thing as you from now on. Like when it goes there, I'm just gonna be like, So Meetup. Meetup is the one site that when it's come to finding groups and stuff, I'm just not a big fan of it. One, I don't like that you have to pay to set up a group on there. I hate that. I would rather have a page that's bombarded with ads than have to pay like $20-30 a month to try and find a gaming group. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
How much is it? You know how much it is, Dave.
It is. Let me double check. The reason I wanted to talk about this is because of that paid. It's almost pay to play, but it's pay to meet up. I'm gonna look it up real quick.
I feel like you're fine. You look it up. I feel like Meetup's
on sale
great
recently.
for professionals. Like if you're trying to find fellow graphic design people and you want to share tips and have like a group for that, or a book club, or
I actually thought that's what Meetup was for.
I mean, it is.
Realize
it's for everything. But
yeah, right.
Like people who bike together use it, and
$24 a month normally.
That's steep.
Which is massive.
Yeah.
If you buy 6 months at a time, it's only $17 dollars a month. That's such a huge monthly fee just to try and get together with a couple people that are interested in the same things. And because of that, it's so strange that I
see LARPers use it a lot in our area.
Yeah.
There's a game store who used it for a while that actually is now, it's our local gaming convention, Grand Con. That started, they did it for the game store that the owner was a general manager at, I think. And then it switched over to just it's like Western Michigan tabletop gaming or something now. And so it's open for board gamers.
Specific.
Well, yes, it is. It's because he's targeting the whole west side of the state to try and go to his convention.
No, I know. I was trolling Paula. I'm sorry.
Oh, sorry. She doesn't watch this stuff. And I actually found it because there was an old post in it for Adventures League about 6 years ago. This is what led to me finding out that they didn't have Adventures League. And then I ran Adventures League at the game store he was a general manager at. And then, obviously that's how I found the gaming convention and started getting involved in that and stuff like that. It was cool. It did not seem to bring new people. There's another group that's local called like We Hate Bards. It's a podcast. They run like Star Wars games and all sorts of other games. And the people who pay for that page, they have like parties at their house, like gaming parties. Like, hey, come on over. You can borrow books from our gaming library. It's like a room of bookshelves. I've never been, but I've known people that go. They're like, yeah, they'll let you borrow books.
That's actually really cool, though. Like that, I'm telling you, that's actually a really cool concept.
Yeah. Look them up. Look them up. So I've talked to the guys a few times. I don't have any strong relationships with any of them, but they're called We Hate Bards. I've talked to a few of the guys. They're real cool. They've invited me over multiple times. Every time I've talked to a different guy, they're like, yeah, come on over. But they play all sorts of games. Like you think of the game, they probably have it and they probably play it at some point. So it's cool. They go to the gaming conventions. They have like work shirt. Anyways, I'm way off topic, but other than that, though, I have not had good gaming experiences through Meetup. Personally.
Yeah, and neither have I really. And like, but so the opportunity came up. So if the organizer of a Meetup group decides I'm done paying this crazy fee,
yeah,
everybody in the group gets a message and is like, hey, your group's about to shut down unless you fork over more money. And this particular group is Philadelphia D&D, and I received that email and I was like, I run a business. Is it weird if I buy this? I'm gonna go buy the group. But like, I made the decision before I really thought about it, and then like the days since, I was like, I shouldn't have been able. Like, you shouldn't be able to buy a group of people that are trying to organize. But now that I'm supporting it, I loved your story about the We Hate Bards, because I'm like,
yeah,
okay, how can I actually make this meetup.com group a good experience? But I personally, just like you, have not had a good experience on finding a group or like going to events on meetup.com.
Yeah.
Like, how can I shouldn't be able to buy a group.
You can come up with, I'm sure you can come up with something creative. Like the We Hate Bards guys are going above and beyond him, or were. I don't know. Again, I haven't seen them in 2 years. But they were going above and beyond with that, like I felt, and they had created a strong community. And I wonder if maybe even people supported them on Patreon or something to help pay for it too at that point. You know, because that's the other thing you could do. You could eventually be like, hey, you know, if you want to help support and keep this going, throw $1. You know.
And here's the thing, right? Like I hate to make the world seem a more evil place to you, right? But like the buying and selling of Facebook groups is a big business, right? Like there are people that simply just go out, create groups to sell them, right?
Yeah, absolutely, but it's not a mechanic of Facebook, you know.
Not yet.
Oh, valid. Not yet. Yeah, right.
Once they figure out how to monetize it, they'll do it, I'm sure.
That'd be so strange.
They have like a mentoring thing through there, which is weird. Like through
you can pay to, like, members can pay other members to have them teach stuff.
LinkedIn actually has the same thing. Although you don't necessarily pay. LinkedIn will reach out to you every once in a while. I don't know how active you guys are on LinkedIn, but LinkedIn will reach out to you every once in a while based on how long you've been on there, how often you post, that sort of thing. And they'll ask you, hey, would you like to be a mentor, you know, in your particular field, blah, blah, blah. Yeah. So
it's funny we mentioned like being able to sell groups of people, but that's kind of just marketing in general. Like in real estate, you were always told if you had like a 3,000 person database of past clients, then you could live off of that, selling it to service people.
It's your book, right? Yeah. Well, it's the same thing in terms of just marketing agencies, you know, your company doesn't actually exist as an asset. Your company, it's your book that has value. Exactly. And by book, it means your client list. Like that's, you know, like, and then so the whole, like, I'll just be honest with you, right? Like end game for me is 5 more years, and then you just sell the book. You know, like you basically just do a major agency, and you walk away and live on a beach in the.
When I was in electronics, that's kind of the big thing. When you grow a small business to a certain size, there's a little bit of a fear of them selling to a huge company and laying everyone off or whatever because of the same reason. You're basically selling your clients who are stuck in contracts with you to other people. So yeah, it's pretty common.
It was weird. I almost felt protective of the group of like, oh, if I don't get this, some random person's going to buy it and just be able to message 3,000 people.
Yeah.
Right. Add it to your, if I were you, I would add it to my mailing list. Send them one thing saying, hey.
I can't believe there are 3,000 people in that group. That's a valuable targeted list, my friend. Like, I don't know what you paid for it, and I'm not going to ask you, but like that's
$24 a month.
$24 a month. And like,
so, you know what? So what I'll say is,
look at Peter. Peter's like, holy cow!
You got the steal of a lifetime. That is totally worth $24 a month. And Juice is right. If you're not adding those folks to your mailing list, then you're crazy. Like I would do at least one. You bought it. Like, yeah, right.
And say, hey, just so you guys know, I bought the group.
No, you should actually send out an email and say, hey, just so you guys know, on Thursday we're kicking off a crowd sale, and you might want to be like, yeah.
Feels so sleazy, I guess.
It's not though. You're doing them a service by keeping it up if they use
Well,
it.
no, but not only that, like
And they might want what you have.
That's what I'm saying. It's what we were talking about, right? If somebody emailed me, even if they got my name off of a list somewhere and it was a product that I wanted, something that I was interested in, this is a targeted group, right?
Yeah.
I would be like, oh yeah, it's kind of awesome. Like, I mean, companies do it all the time, right? Like, so
as long as you're not calling them about like that manscaping thing I see on YouTube ads all the time.
Right.
Or like telling them to vote for your political guy.
Extend
like,
your car warranty.
Right. As long as you're not like telling them like, hey, you have $500,000 in funds tied up somewhere, and they just you just need them to cash the check.
Unless
but you have
it's
to,
true.
You have to give them $1,000 first. Like, yeah, right.
Unless it's true. If it's true, let me know, Dave. I will send you that $1,000. Just kidding. Yeah. No, it sounds like like he was saying, you got a really good deal on a group of people that are your target audience, really. I mean, you got to assume at least 10% of them might be interested in what you have that don't even know about it.
Well, what's interesting is Meetup only recently allowed digital meetups to be posted on their platform, which is bonkers to me that they didn't. Like they'd forcibly remove digital meetups prior to pandemic, which is dumb. They'd shut groups down if they realized you weren't meeting in person. But one of the first thought I had was just have either weekly or bi-weekly, like, hey, are you new to D&D? Come join this Zoom call and I'll answer any of your questions.
Dude, that'd be great.
Do you have a physical space or no, like you're working out of the home office sort of thing?
Working out of the home office at the moment.
Because I was going to say, if you had a physical space, an open house would be really kind of cool. The kind of thing that like We Hate Bards is doing, where people could come in and they could. Yeah, right.
And even if you're not letting them take books out, be like, hey, come play our games that we have here.
Well, come play your games here and use our tokens, right? The ones that we have here. You get like to me like this. So then they have the tactile experience of using the tokens to see, or even you could host a game and run a game and show people how it's run with the tokens. Like
there's a guy here in Michigan who does that. It's Eye of the Beholder Gaming or something, and he's got terrain he lets people use and stuff too.
You could do that. You could do that online. You could do that via Zoom. You could host a game and have people from Meetup come and just use your tokens, with a camera and right.
Yeah, I think it sounds awesome.
I got a friend that does like miniature robotic stuff, and I was thinking it'd be so impractical, but to put a token on top of just a little mini robot that can wheel around and give controls digitally to players, and they can actually wheel their token around on the screen.
That would be nice, yeah.
Remotely.
That's awesome. Yeah, I think that would be really cool. Like, if I were you, like, I would start coming up with some out of the box thinking, and I would definitely do something with that group. Can you pin posts on Meetup?
I think so.
So yeah, I would definitely post something about your launch on Thursday there. And I would definitely say if anyone wants to see it in use or just wants to talk, let's hop on a Zoom call and maybe set up some games and, like just keep it casual and people appreciate it, I think.
Honestly, so here's the thing, right? Hit me up offline, DM me on Twitter or something. And
not Discord.
Let's jump on a call.
Not Discord. It's got to be Twitter.
Let's jump on a call for just like a half hour or so and I'll brainstorm with you. I mean, like, this is what I do, right? Like we'll, I have actually a couple, 3 ideas at this point. But I don't want to, just hit me up offline. We'll set up like a half hour, 45 minutes and talk through some stuff. Obviously no charge, right? But I think there's a couple different avenues that you can go down that aren't sleazy and that will kind of be a win for them, win for you. So
yeah. Like the other thing is that I pay for the professional Zoom subscription, and I was thinking like there's a lot of groups that can't pay for that. Like how can I sponsor just like 3 other groups and let them use it when I'm not
I've been wanting to do that forever too. Like I know people who want to stream, but they can't like invest in any of the stuff like Zoom or
and
I've thought about that too, because
services thing.
Because I've got time slots available all across my social media. Like if people want to, I'll hook it up. And if
Well,
it ever
so-
does well, I'll pay him eventually.
So when Maximum Apocalypse comes in, bringing it back full circle to Kickstarter, when my Maximum Apocalypse shows up, we're gonna do a one shot, right? We're gonna have a game.
yeah, let's do it. So
yeah.
I purposely keep a couple Fridays a month open for one shots, but I have Mondays also. So
Okay. Yeah.
yeah. Definitely. And I do want to play that. I remember I was excited about that.
Yeah.
The percentage based everything. So I do have the PDF version from Scott, so I would definitely be up for playing.
And if there's ever a time to play an
apocalyptic game, this would be it.
No. Yeah, right. So
yes. So I just found out from our good friend Peter here that he is committed to staying with us tonight. So that's
nice.
good news.
What happened to your game, Drake? No,
He told him screw off. He's in a Zoom call.
Yeah. No, it got canceled.
Okay.
No.
Sorry, man. I'm sorry. I know that sometimes sucks.
That's right. It was good reason, so that's fine.
Okay. So the next one is Tabletop Podcast. This is a great segue since we were kind of talking about, doing stuff like that. The question is, which do you listen to, if any? Which did you wish existed? How is Persuasion Check coming along? And and then Dave said he's actually considering starting one soon, and who wants to come chat with him? I would love to come chat with you, Dave.
Awesome.
I'm available, like I just said, some Friday nights, and I'm available on Monday nights for short things here and there. So I did get an invite to do world building on Mondays. And I don't want to commit to a regular thing. I'm just going to put that out there. I don't want to do like an every week thing, because if I'm doing that, I'm never going to get videos done. But I would definitely come on occasionally. I think that'd be awesome.
I'm always available for an attack of opportunity. So yeah.
Yeah. For my thing, it's not scheduled. We're not committing to anything. It's just I know so many people now in the space that I just want an excuse to hang out with them, like this sort of.
Yep.
And you just record it, and if they're cool with it, put it out there. And if they're not cool with it, I'd edit clips and be like,
Right.
Can I do that? Can I put this clip out?
Do you want to do video or just audio? Or both?
I'd want to do video, but if the person only wants to do audio, that's fine.
Sure.
I'm cool with that.
Okay. Yeah, I've been wanting to take a lot of my video ones and turn them into just audio and put up another element that I'm not currently doing. I used to do audio only a while back. I only did a few episodes with RPG content, but I would like to one day take like all my RPG talk episodes and just put them out on like iTunes and Podbean and all that stuff, but have not done that yet. And when it comes to what I listen to, I used to listen to, was it Skywalker Studios? It's a guy who used to do his own world building stuff, and I used to get so much inspiration from his podcast. He was talking about like homebrew campaigns in his world, and I loved it. I also used to listen to Roll Up and Die. I used to like their podcast they did. I listened to that quite a bit, especially 4 years ago when I was working in the office. Especially when I was working crazy nights by myself in the building. Be like, oh, I'm putting on a podcast full blast and doing my work. So those two for sure. There's been a couple others right off the top of my head. I can't think of any right this moment. What about you guys? What do you guys listen to or used to listen to?
So I listen I listen to a ton of podcasts. Unfortunately though, none of them really RPG related. I don't listen to RPG related podcasts. But
right.
I
used to listen to Bigger Pockets.
It's not that I wouldn't. I just don't. I think RPG stuff for me is more strictly YouTube. And then when I think, and I'll tell you why, because I will listen to podcasts while I'm working. So I'll sit at my desk all day and I'll have podcasts playing, in the background all day. So I'm generally listening to industry stuff, right? Like I'm not listening to RPG stuff. And plus for me, right, RPG stuff is strictly YouTube, and I don't know why I make that connection, right? Like when I want my RPG fix, then I'm going to go to YouTube. I'm not necessarily listening on a podcast. When I want to listen to stuff you should know, then I think of a podcast. So like, yeah. I don't know.
I used to listen to real estate podcasts too. Obviously don't anymore. Bigger Pockets was an investment one. They would teach you like how to get, like say you didn't have enough money to do flips, they would teach you how to do that, or how, like the formulas for investment properties and how much you should save a month, and all sorts of cool stuff like that. I still find good information there when people are talking to me about it. I'll go find stuff.
You know what I think it is? I think for me, again, because I like to collect stuff and I like to see the stuff, right? Like, I think RPG related content for me is always YouTube, because I want to see the book. I want to see the supplement. I want to see the mini. I want to see what it looks like. I don't think that would necessarily carry over on a podcast. What I will tell you, though, is this. Live plays, I actually like listening to live play via podcast almost better than watching it on YouTube. So there is that. So
interesting.
Yeah, for me with live plays, I have a hard time listening to it, but if it is on YouTube, I feel like for me, I can't watch like Twitch streams where the players are all in the little boxes and like they're where the players are remote. Like for me, the live play, the players need to be at the table for me to even remotely begin to enjoy it or to focus.
Don't worry, we'll be doing that again once COVID's over.
Yeah, I don't know what it is, but if every player's remote, it's like I can't. Sorry, I'm not interested.
I can't watch or listen to live plays. I can't follow what's happening. I trail off. If I'm not playing in the game, I cannot follow it no matter what.
It's gotta be more like a story thing, or it can't be. I had trouble watching MCDM's The Chain because it felt too much like a home game, which is what I liked about it at first. But then I, just like you were saying, I had trouble paying attention to what was going on because there were side banter and they'd talk about something else off topic for 10 minutes, and I'd be like, nah, I want to know the story. Right. Keep telling me the story. I don't care about what you did yesterday.
The other thing I struggle, so actually I'll listen to a live play if it's my own. I do that every session. So for example, we have Tyranny of Dragons this week. I will watch that game Saturday at some point from last time. So I know what happened, and any question I had that I forgot since then, I'm ready for it. And then when it comes to, like, if I'm running something like a Tyranny of Dragons or Descent into Avernus, I might watch somebody else's where they ran it at that part, just so I can see how they handled certain stuff. Because I always find that kind of valuable. I don't usually do what they did, but I like seeing the difference, like how they handled the monster or how they handled that NPC or this bit of information. And it's interesting because you'll see, like, well, people sometimes will just completely leave it out on purpose. Like the shield that my players got in Descent into Avernus this last week, I've talked to other DMs and they don't even, like, they were like, nope, they got this other thing. So I just did not give them the shield at all because it was a plot device for this, and they didn't need that anymore. I was like, oh, interesting.
So for live plays specifically, right? I cannot watch a live play or even listen to a live play where people take themselves too seriously, right? Like, so my live plays for me, and it doesn't necessarily matter whether they're at the table or whether they're in the little boxes. If they're super serious about the game, I can't. I can't. But if they're truly capturing sort of that table dynamic, that kind of beer and pretzels joking back and forth sort of thing, like, oh man, I dig it. So, and I hated live play, or at least, watching or listening to live play until I discovered accidentally a couple years ago, actually, and I kind of listen to them religiously now. I don't know, can I call them out, Juce, or sure. Am I not allowed to? So sure. There's a podcast from Geekly Inc. called Drunks and Dragons, and I am telling you, I want to sit at that table. That is like the most fun time anyone has ever had playing Dungeons and Dragons. And like that, to me, like, I dig that, right? Like, I like that sort of table dynamic, that feeling of beer and pretzels, joking back and forth, not taking yourself too seriously. I will get really turned off really quickly if somebody's just taking themselves way too seriously during a live play. And it's like, I this isn't Shakespeare. We're right. Playing make believe.
That's why you like my channel, because we can't take ourselves too seriously.
Okay, so we have had the conversation before, Juice, and this is the truth, right?
Yeah.
I have been following your channel for a long time, and you didn't do live stuff. You did videos, right? And like your videos were they're okay, but like like,
Let's be
and I'm
honest,
just,
they're kind of stale.
my videos are garbage. Like, so I'm not like, please don't feel bad about this, but they're basically topics that 2,000 people have already covered, right? Like there's those, you know, I mean, because there's only so many videos that can be done.
Mhm.
But then when you started doing your mini sort of like, you know, you're kind of live streaming on Twitch, that was real stuff, right? Like, and it's
Right.
not, it's basically conversation
Me
that you're
giving
having.
Paula a hard time.
Yeah, you're not talking about like the same thing that 2,000 people talked about. You're talking about your personal perspective. For me,
Right.
that's where it's at, right?
And then
Like
telling
I
Paula
want,
she's wrong.
yeah, well, no, more. I think it was more her telling you that you were wrong. But like,
Probably. She tries.
But I mean, like, and that's just me. I'm not saying, look, there are some channels out there that are phenomenal. The production value is like outstanding, and they are actually sort of treading new ground and covering topics that, although they've been covered before, are coming at it from a new angle. But I mean, if we're being honest, guys, right? Like, and again, I'm a hack. I'm talking about myself too, right? Like, most videos, 90% of them are really like, okay, so this is the same video that like has been.
You want to
put
talk
out
about
by
paid DMing, Bill? We can talk
And-
about paid DMing tomorrow on Master of the Game. I'm gonna do a video on it.
But do you see? I mean, like,
I've been
I
paid
don't
to
know.
DM before.
And
What do you
I'm
want to
not-
talk about?
And I'm
It
certainly
used to be a hot
not.
topic that everyone talked about.
I am not slamming anyone, right? Like again, there are people that have way more talent than I have, right? But even the most talented channel, if the topic has been covered 100 times already, okay, it's been beat to death, right? Like if you're not giving me your personal perspective, then I
Top
don't know.
10 feats of D&D.
Oh, it's so bad. The 5 spells you shouldn't take. Like, and it's so formulaic, right?
The
Like,
worst spells of D&D.
it is literally formulaic. Okay, we got to work a number into the title, and we got to work our keyword
Best,
into the front,
best,
and right. And you have to ask
worst.
like, and it has to be a question. Yeah, right. Or
You know
if
what
you-
sucks?
if
I'm
you
with
don't
you,
explain-
but
you
it
don't explain
works, and
well
I need to do
from
more of those.
unit, like, yeah, okay, whatever, dude.
It
Like,
works.
but that's why, because it's formulaic. That's what I'm saying. It's marketing 101.
Some of it works for the
doesn't
algorithm, and some of it works for the person. Some of it.
It doesn't make it good content, right? Like,
No, a title does not make something good content. The
Right.
content between the start and the end is what matters. And when it comes to regular videos, my old videos, I feel, are really bad. Like, just I can't stand some of my older videos. It's still up there. If people want to go back and watch one of my 900 videos, feel free. Tell me how bad it is. I'm cool with it. Go comment on it.
Hey, of those 900, 872 are on Pathfinder 2nd Edition, right? Because, man, you just way too much on Pathfinder 2nd Edition, buddy. I don't know what's going on.
Hey,
Happened to your channel, man.
I'm just another white guy talking about Pathfinder 2nd Edition, man. But no, like, I'm actually more proud now of the actual videos I do than the actual videos I did 10 years ago. But I wouldn't be where I am today without what I did before either.
So I realized I was looking through my channel the other day, right? Because I'm thinking, should I revive this thing? Because I'm getting near 1,000. I'm at like 924 subscribers or something, and I'm like, okay, people are actually taking me seriously, even though they shouldn't, because like I'm not taking this seriously, right? But I was looking back at it, and I think the videos that I do, even the videos, like the recorded videos, are basically this, right? It's me, and I think that's why people either like my videos or they hate my videos, because like I'm going to ramble for a half hour about nothing, right? Like, this is how I feel about this game. This is what I think.
Right.
I'm not here to give you an optimal build. I'm not here to give you tactics. I'm here to go, this was cool because this, and I remember 27 years ago, this happened here, and that was why this. Oh, and another thing. And that's my video style. And I think people either really identify with that, or people just hate the hell out of that,
You know
right?
what I would love, Bill? I would love this. And I don't know how much you would want to do this, but I would love to see you do videos where you argue with yourself. Like you do one camera angle arguing in favor of something, and then you like turn, like almost like you have split personalities, and then you argue the point against it. Like, and then edit it so you're even talking over yourself, like actually arguing with yourself.
I could actually, I could do that because like it doesn't half the time.
That would be interesting as hell.
I'm taking the contrarian view no matter what, right? So even if I believe in something, I'm going to argue the opposite side just because.
It might require you to like make bullet points on paper, right? And then you have to time things well.
I refuse. I refuse to do a script.
I'm not telling you script because you'd record one of them, and I guess you could just literally turn with your camera. But I'm thinking like actually have a cut and then do the other. You know what I mean?
I still maintain scripted. If I wanted scripted entertainment, I would watch television, right? Like I'm not watching YouTube for scripted stuff. I'm watching YouTube because I want an actual real connection, right? So yeah,
I get you. But that would be really entertaining. Just putting that idea out there. If you do anything with it, let me know.
Actually, you know what I think I'm going to do, right? I'm going to go back through all of your old videos and I'm going to cut edit like your stuff and I'm going to argue points against that. So it'll be like you talking. And then it'll be like Juice, you ignorant
The
slut.
Worst part is that I don't have any of the same views I had like 8 years ago. And I'm like, I've flipped on most of them since then.
That's even better.
Yeah,
I know, right?
You could argue against yourself, like your idea for roll stats.
I know I could. I don't know if it'd be as entertaining though. I think Bill's really, when he gets going, it's I can't turn it off. The other night when we were talking after stream, I would ask him a question just to get him to keep going. He's like, I gotta pee, damn it. I gotta go. And so I'd be like, okay, one more question. And then he'd do it.
Yeah, but here I was thinking about that after the fact, man. You troll me on purpose. You troll me. You ask a question because you know I'm gonna get it. It's like you get this like sort of little gleam in your eye and this kind of little smile smirk, and you're like, and I'm like, fell into it again.
I do that to everybody though. I don't even think I do it like consciously. I think some of it's just subconsciously. When I'm asking people questions, a lot of times I'm challenging myself too, because I don't always necessarily have an opinion. So I will ask questions about something to understand their inner, deeper thoughts on it. Like, and it might just spur of the moment, like, well, if they think this, what do they think of this? Now I just ask it, because I've thought of a new stance on it,
So I'll be really honest. A lot of times I ask contrarian questions because I want that person to defend their belief. In other words, I want to know, do you actually believe this? Do you think this? And can you defend this? Or are you simply, sort of regurgitating whatever garbage you heard? You see, like I do. I test people quite often. It's not to be most of the time I'm actually agreeing with the side that they're taking.
You're not trying to be difficult.
Right. I want to make sure that they're just not regurgitating something that they heard. Do you understand what you're saying? Do you understand the implications? Do you really get the core concept behind what you're arguing? I do that quite often. And I know that could be annoying, but I'm too old and set in my ways to change. So like, I mean, it just is what it is at this point. So yeah.
So what about you, Dave and Peter? Do you guys listen to any podcasts?
In tabletop related, not really. I think most of them would be considered. I guess there's a blur between tabletop show and tabletop podcast. I find myself watching Nerdarchy's chats. They just came back, started doing that recently.
Do you think those provide a lot of value for you, or do you just enjoy hearing people talk about RPG stuff?
It depends. I feel like it depends on the guest. I like hearing about the value for me comes from getting to business side, in a sense, getting a chance to better understand the person they have on, like hearing where they came from or what their opinions are. Like there's just certain stories that are only available or public on that particular Q&A. And that was the case with your talks as well. As
I need to do those more.
Yeah, it's people in the industry, like one I either didn't know existed or like, wanted to hear from, and it's unique perspective or info. Outside of the tabletop space, the one I've been listening to / watching the most or have on in the background the most is actually a podcast hosted by Steve-O from Jackass.
Yep.
Steve-O's Wild Ride. And I've found myself bookmarking just like personality podcasts, just random people.
Do you like Joe Rogan
talking.
too?
I wouldn't say like, but I binged a bunch of his stuff for a while and then fell off.
For me, it depends on his guest, but yeah.
Yeah. I'm
the more
most
like
interested
polarizing
in, like,
characters, the
person-to-person.
better.
Yeah, I think I started binging Joe Rogan like maybe a month or two before the Elon Musk thing, and then a month or two after, and then I dropped off. So maybe the next big guest thing that happens with him,
he
I'll
had
go
Roy
back.
Jones Jr. on there, and so Roy Jones Jr. is about to fight Mike Tyson at some point. I don't know the date; it's been pushed back. Originally, it was supposed to be in September, and so I was watching that actually today because I like to watch it. I don't like to listen to it. I like to just watch it on like YouTube, the clips and stuff. And I was just fascinated to hear, what went into like the delay and other stuff. I love that, like, because he has such a variety, I guess. And I hate podcasts that are live plays. I won't listen to a podcast that's a live play. I wish there were more, and this kind of goes into the next part of that, what you were asking. I wish there were more podcasts where it was people like this that are talking about RPGs, various topics with RPGs. Like, well, what games do you like? How do you world build? How do you, not like necessarily looking for tips, just literally talking about different people's processes more so.
Yep.
Because I get more from that than being told, oh, here's 5 tips on how to world build. And
it's
some
a
of it's
shame.
good.
Really the only podcasts out there for RPG is either live plays or tips and tricks and here's the mechanics of the game. I'll teach you that, or how to DM. I like I don't know what it would be called. It's not meta. But the theory of a lot of the games are just, here's a random topic. What do you think?
Right. Yeah. Like I used to like No Directions podcast actually. I wasn't even playing Pathfinder. It was like when 5e first came out, I think for like a year or two, I listened to a lot of No Direction.
So can I curveball everybody and get a gut check real quick?
Yeah.
Go for it.
What do you guys, Critical Role, yay or nay?
I'm a yay. I've found them stupid story, but like I found them at like, I don't know, a low point in life, and I wasn't able to play D&D. I was in a foreign country. I didn't speak the language, all this stuff. I watched Critical Role every night, and so like I feel like though that I only like it because I have the history with it. But yeah, they're a yay for me.
So yeah, well, for the record, I am a Critical Role fan. I think that the criticism against them is quite frankly asinine, right?
It's unfair.
Like, you're mad at someone because they're producing a show? Like, that's stupid. Like I don't get it. I don't understand. I mean, I get it's like sort of backlash, but what I'll say is, and you can say it's a produced show all you want. So
it's not
what?
scripted though.
Like, but even if it was, so what? Like, it's still entertaining. It's still good. And
the clips,
quite frankly, I'm going to say that even though they're voice actors, they're still they're actors, right? Like, so that's good for role play. I'm going to go on record right now, and there are people who are like, oh my God, Jester has completely destroyed the game and turned it into a joke. And I'm going to say Laura Bailey's probably one of the best damn role players I've ever seen in my life. Like, you believe that she's Jester. So I don't get it. Like, I don't get it. Like, why people dislike it so much.
Yeah. And to your point earlier, I'd argue that they don't take themselves too seriously.
No. Exactly.
It seems like Beer and Pretzels D&D from the clips I've seen.
Yeah, it totally is.
You can even see Mercer get pissed at him when they hang on to a joke too long.
It's like it's like a fun, good time. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I just don't get it. So yeah, I just wanted to gut check everyone to see, because I don't. Yeah, right.
I don't.
Right.
So I need to go to, and I've said this before, I've not sat there and watched a session and enjoyed it, or listened to it and enjoyed it, because I have a hard time following. but I also started with their first episode, and I've tried from the first episode that had crappy quality. You know, I need to jump to that next season. I need to just skip that whole season.
The first episode was not actually the first episode. The first aired episode, they were already halfway through their campaign arc.
It was years later. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
It was originally Pathfinder. They switched it to 5e. Yeah. So I need to jump to that next season where the audio quality is good and see if I can follow along and enjoy it. I have a feeling I would if I can find time to. And so for me, from my personal perspective, I don't have a take. However, from what they do for the hobby, yay all the way. Because I think they're way better for the hobby than people give them credit sometimes. I think I think people dump on them a lot, actually.
Yeah.
So do you like them, Peter?
Oh yeah.
I watched, I think most of the first season I would watch, and I thought it was pretty good. I really haven't gotten into the second one just because of the time investment.
Yeah.
In terms of watching, what I'll do is it's a background show for me. I don't think I've ever actually not for a long time, not for a couple years, have I watched an episode and not done anything else. So I have it on the background and I take advantage. I almost never watch it live. I'll watch it on YouTube. I'll take advantage of the speed button and I'll bump it all the way up to 2x. I'll do that for most things. And after your ears adjust, it doesn't sound that bad. Because, in normal speech, especially in role play, and when you're trying to think of what to say, there's long gaps in what we talk about. So that the 2x speed makes a big difference in getting through the freaking role episodes.
I don't watch it live either. I don't watch it on Twitch. I watch sort of the VOD when it gets transferred over to YouTube. Yep. But I won't, I don't watch it 2x, and I will. It's funny because there are a lot of RPG stuff that I will have it's on in the background. I'll have it as I'm doing other things and I'll have it on and I'll be listening, and every once in a while I'll stop and then rewind and watch again to pay more attention. But Critical Role, I will actually watch like it's a show. In other words, kind of how I watched Game of Thrones, I watch Critical Role. I watch to see again the facial expressions, the interplay, I really do. I think it's entertaining. Yes, certainly. I think that I think that they are great ambassadors for 5th edition and for Dungeons and Dragons, and I think they're great for the hobby. But personally and sort of selfishly, I just really enjoy the story. I enjoy the show. I enjoy the characters. I enjoy the people who are playing the characters. It's just a good time. It's a good beer. Again, it is a good beer and pretzels game. It's so, yeah.
That just happens to have voice acting.
Does anybody here watch Dimension 20 and Brendan Lee Mulligan's games?
I do not watch.
It's by College Humor.
Okay, yeah.
I have more fun watching those games than Critical Role games.
Okay.
Now, the majority of their D&D shows are stuck behind a paywall on their own site, but they have a bunch of free ones up on YouTube.
So what Dimension 20? What is it called again?
They got a couple different ones, but the show name or the brand name is Dimension 20.
Okay.
The Dungeon Master is Brendan Lee Mulligan of College Humor.
Okay.
And they use College Humor cast as the players. They did a villain one. I think it's called Escape from the Bloodkeep. Matt Mercer is a guest player on there. So they've got a couple guest players. But for besides the audio issues, someone in chat was talking about how they hate when someone's video audio is too quiet. Brennan, the DM, likes to whisper anytime he's role-playing a character, and it drives me nuts because immediately afterwards they laugh out loud and blows your headphones out. Besides that, I have a lot more fun watching Dimension 20 games than Critical Role.
So someone in the chat mentioned Acquisitions Incorporated.
Yes, my mind is blown by this right now. So Chris Perkins is my dream DM. And he just told me Chris Perkins doesn't do Acquisitions Incorporated anymore.
But what I was just going to say, so here's the thing, right? Acquisitions Incorporated was okay. I can watch some of that.
It's too goofy for you?
What I really, it's a little bit too goofy for me, right? Like, but so what was great, and I think I'm probably the only person in the world that loved it. I don't know do you guys remember Dice Camera Action, the one that that Perkins DM'd before the big thing between, you know, Holly Conrad and Jared and the big massive conspiracy, like, you know, however that blew up, right? That was even more than Critical Role. That was sort of must-watch TV for me. I would watch that live. I would watch that live on YouTube. That was the greatest D&D campaign, like that, because Perkins basically wrote Curse of Strahd, right? And he's running Curse of Strahd. Like, that was a phenomenal campaign. And say what you want about Holly Conrad. Hey man, I am fully in your corner. I'm certain you're never going to see this, right, Holly? I'm certain, but like, you are everything that's good about D&D. Don't let anybody get you down. You're amazing. And she was a hell of a role player. And the
she plays some interesting characters.
The interplay between Anna Prosser and I cannot remember. I always forget his name. Man, not Jared, but the other guy. So it was basically Holly Conrad, Anna Prosser, Jared, and the other guy, I can't remember his name. But the interplay between Anna Prosser and him, and then the play between Holly Conrad and Jared was a great show. And I don't even refer to it as like a live play. That was a show, and that was must-watch TV for me. And Perkins is dollar for dollar, pound for pound, right? Perkins is a better DM than Mercer. I think the thing is, it's more style, right? Like,
I was gonna say Perkins, our style, probably.
Perkins just doesn't
with you.
Yeah, Nate, exactly. Thank you. It was Nate. Nate wants to battle. But so I think that Mercer is more voices and Perkins is more story. That's my opinion, right? Like, but I think Perkins is
more flexible with their players, because I feel like Perkins is very flexible with his players too, and I love that.
I think Mercer's super flexible with his players too, though. I actually think that sometimes I feel like that sometimes Mercer bends over a little too far backwards. Gotcha. I think
he doesn't ever say no.
Ever. Exactly. He doesn't ever say no, and it's damn near impossible to die. And like, it's, you know, like
interesting.
And again, I'm not saying like that's a style of play, and I'm not saying that that's a bad style. I think that Perkins is more old school than Mercer is. Not that either of them
just
are
look
super
at the
old school,
he writes.
but I think that Perkins is much like, if I could pick, and not that I freaking can, but if like someday, like, I don't know, the universe smiled upon me and they were like, well, you can sit at Perkins' table or you can sit at Mercer's table.
Perkins.
I would sit at Perkins' table.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%. In fact, I remember him running that game that he had Ed Greenwood, and they pulled someone from the crowd to play in it. And I was like, oh, that would have been great.
That would have been amazing.
Yes. Playing with Ed Greenwood and him.
I think if I had multiple chances, I think I would do Mercer first and then every other for the remainder in perpetuitum, Perkins.
So one shot Mercer, campaign Perkins. You know what?
Yeah.
I think you know what, Dave?
Yeah.
I agree with that. Yeah.
Yeah, if you guys want to make that happen, you guys, the viewers, have to get Perkins to recognize us. I don't have that sway. That's funny. Yeah, that would be interesting.
I do, man. It was a shame. I was really upset when that whole controversy rolled out and then they canceled Dice Camera Action. Like, come on, man.
I remember the controversy, but
it was my favorite. Oh, it was great. That campaign was just, man, it was good. So yeah.
Cameron just wants Mercer so he can sit next to him and sniff his hair. The hair has a 15 charisma alone. Nice.
Well, Mercer or Perkins rocks the shiny head.
Heck yeah,
so,
and I'm almost shiny, so we're good.
Yep.
We could be the bald white guy's table.
Exactly. Right.
We just got to get like Bill Allen and let's drag another old white guy with no hair to the table, or a young white guy. Hell. All right, so that brings us to the last question. Thoughts on conventions returning? So what do you guys think of that? When do you think it'll happen? Are you eager, anxious, excited about it? Are you first chance you get? Are you going?
I am not okay, so I'll jump in first because that's what I do. I am not really a big, huge convention guy. So it doesn't, honestly, for me, it holds no real appeal. I'm not, and we've talked about this before, Juice. I am, it's not necessarily system for me, it's the group. And I don't necessarily like to go do public play with people that I don't necessarily know because I don't know. It's hard to again, for me, it's all about the interaction. It's hard to key off of and cue off of people that you don't really know and how they're going to react and blah, 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 blah. So for me, the only reason that I go to conventions is to buy stuff, right? It's not necessarily about gameplay. So yeah, that's me.
Okay.
Which conventions do you go to buy stuff at?
None currently.
When's the last time you've been to one, Bill?
4 years ago. 4 years ago, 5 years ago. Yeah.
Gotcha.
I'm not a big, I'm just not a big, I'm not a big cosplay kind of guy. I'm not a big convention kind of guy. I don't for me, the draw for a convention is to go and do public play with people that so again, you want somebody wants to sit in on your game, Juice. So you're going to go to Grand Con and then they're you're going to have an open table and people are going to be able to sign up to play at your table. I mean, I get that, right? I'm not necessarily that person. Yeah, I'd like to play at your table, but I don't necessarily know who the other 5 people are going to be sitting at that table and whether I want to be sitting there with them.
Right.
For me, RPGs, role playing is a very personal thing, and you don't want to do that with everyone, right? Because it requires a lot of trust, and I don't necessarily trust
a random person sitting at your table if they're going to play your style.
And again, we've had this conversation about Adventurers League. There are some
I'm apprehensive even online with people I don't know.
That's what I'm saying. There are some people who come to these tables to sort of work through whatever their issues are. And hey, man, good. I'm not slamming that. I'm saying, hey, good for you. But I don't necessarily want to be the vehicle with which you work through your own personal psychological baggage, right? Right. So
it could be a gamble.
So so at Grand Con last time, so 2019, I did try to run a game. Nobody showed up. So, which I wasn't, I was kind of excited to run a game because I was going to, I made some.
Were you running Palladium, Juice? That's probably why.
D&D 5e. It was I did meat grinder mode. It was going to be. And it was basically, the premise was the players are trying to hold off a siege on the castle. And I had different tiers. So the first wave is at the exterior wall. And if they fail, it gets pushed back. And so then it just gets pushed back. And I had certificates I made 4 or 5 different ones that I thought would be fun to give out to people, whose character died the quickest, whose character lasted the longest, who did the coolest shit. And I had names for these things. I had the Legolas Award for the best Hollywood moment. Right. Anyways, nobody showed up. So I was what a waste of time. I will never do that again unless there are people who beforehand are I'm on to play in your game. I'm going to be there. Boom. So I won't run another convention game. So either way, though, conventions for me are not about public play at all. So for me, there's a few reasons. The social aspect, running, meeting up with other YouTubers that I know, just friends in general. That's one aspect, right? So Grand Con's great because obviously Nate from WSD20, Luke from the DM Lair, Jake from Mini Terrain Domain, Larry from Follow Me and Die. I hope I'm probably missing a couple people, but all of those guys, go to the local convention. And so I get to hang out with them for a weekend. That's a big, big part of it. Obviously, I could probably just message them on Facebook and say, hey, do you want to go to the mall? We could do the same shit.
Or you want to go have a beer or something?
Could do the same shit. But but we don't. We usually I've had drinks with Nate a few times at B-dubs and stuff, watch football with him and stuff. But going to the convention, it's different. It's the atmosphere of that, and then having that weekend where you can talk to him for a little bit and then separate and then come back and talk about what you did and stuff like that. So that's one aspect. Another aspect is demoing games I would never try in a million years. So some companies will have their game out and they'll show you the mechanics of it and how it works and, stuff like that. That's kind of cool. Also, the games library is always a big selling point because you can sit down pretty much for free, play whatever games that they have, check them out of the library, play it, see what you think. Or just look at a game. I've done that too. Check the game out just to look at it. So there's that aspect. Socializing with vendors. So the little game master, he writes a book for kids.
Yeah, you interviewed him on your channel.
I did. So in 2019, I ran into him at Grand Con. He had a booth there. And I did buy some art off of him because I thought it was really cool. And
someone actually reached out to me on my YouTube channel, via email, and asked, "Hey, saw your video on BX or whatever, looking to get back into the system. Would you recommend this for, I want to play a game with my son. Would you recommend this?" And I was like, "No, I absolutely would not." Right? Like, I would not recommend BX. It's way too adult themed, right? Like, so, but based on the interview that I saw on your channel, I was like, "Hey, you should check out blah," and I referred the guy to your video and sent gave the link and stuff. So Little Game Master, I hope you made a sale off of that because I gave you a glowing recommendation.
So I talked to him, found out he was a big Provokers fan, and he was like, "Yeah, I watched you on the Provokers," and so it was just like that's cool to me, meeting people and getting to know them, and And so then I was like, we got to do something together. And, we kind of worked that out ahead of time. And then later on, we actually solidified it. So for me, that's a big thing. So it's more the social aspect of a convention. But I don't go there to play games at all. In fact, that's not it for me.
So you talked about everything. You talked about everything except answering your own question. So when do you think they're going to open up again? And are you looking forward to going back?
I don't think we're going to see a convention. Well, we'll probably see a convention by the end of summer next year. But I don't know if I will be returning to any until 2022, if I had to guess. Earliest would probably be Gen Con 2022 for me. So Nerdarchy, if they do their convention next year, it'll be hard for me not to go. I want to go.
I plan on sponsoring, being one of the sponsors for that, but I've been hesitant on pulling the trigger because it's like, will things be good? Then?
Right. Like, are people actually going to be comfortable going out to the conventions? Like, what's the turnout going to be like? How restricted are conventions going to be? Like, are they going to be limited to 20% capacity? Like, there's so many questions, and so it's hard. And then my wife and I, we do take the more cautious approach. Like, I'm overweight. I've told you guys before, I've in the past, I had a doctor that told me I'm pre-diabetic. And so I'm assuming, since it's been 5 years and I haven't changed much, I'm probably diabetic. Like, so we are like, oh, well, I'm high risk. Got to be careful.
You could just go back to the doctor.
Right. Isn't that where people go with COVID though? I'm high risk, Bill. What are you trying to do here? No. So, I mean, I do try to be careful about certain things, but compared to before. But so I don't know. I think 2022 would be the first time I'd probably go back, unless it's the Nerdarchy convention. Is pretty much where I'm at. And Nerdarchy would be like Halloween next year. So a year from now.
Yeah, the end of August or October.
Yeah. So that's kind of where I am. But seminars are also the big thing. I love the business side of everything. Everything. I love hearing about how people like create their products, their books, how they determine like what they're going to charge for it, how they do like I am a super nerd when it comes to that stuff. Love it. So I've gone to in fact, me and Luke, the very first time we talked in person was at the end of a Kickstarter seminar at Grand Con last year, because he was planning this Kickstarter a year ago and was doing his research. And so I like that. Just love it. I just love learning from to me, that is a creative process. I know it's more analytical and business stuff, but to me, it still comes across as kind of creative. At least it hits that nerve for me a little. So I always enjoy that as well. And there's seminars about non-business side stuff too that I like. Like I recorded a world building one with Ed Greenwood a few years back. It's up on my channel. where it was
Okay.
him and Grubb, like a bunch of people who've worked for like Star Wars and done video game stuff, RPG stuff. It was actually really interesting.
I gotta have you on my unofficial podcast. That's what I'm trying to make it more like, is the business end of it than the mechanics end
That'd
of
be
it.
cool.
At least the first episode we recorded with my partner, it's very much like, why did we do this? What was the decision making process behind it? That kind of thing.
Well, when I have you on RPG Talk, that's what I'm going to ask you too. I usually ask people like, why'd you get started with this? Like, how did it happen?
Mhm.
Like, so yeah, no, that would be cool. I would love to come on. Like I said, I don't know how much I have to offer on the business side. Like even with YouTube stuff, I know stuff, but then there's the question of, do I do it? And the answer is no. Like I know if I can make list videos and I know I need to do more scripting videos and stuff like that. I don't know.
What about you, Drake? What conventions? Yay or nay?
I've never been to one, so I guess with my Kickstarter, I got tickets to Nerdarchy's convention, so I should hopefully get there.
Oh, that'd be cool. We should get everybody there. Everybody on my Discord should go. And Roll Stats, even though you don't use Discord, you are on my Discord. So that means you have to go too. No. All the way to Philadelphia.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll see.
You wouldn't go to hang out with us and have beers and hang out?
I
with all
would,
of us?
but honestly, right, like that would be the draw though, right?
Right.
Like
It'd be
it
like a
wouldn't-
family
yeah,
reunion for a week with a bunch of gamers that you know. That's exactly why I'm so anxious to go to Nerdarchy's convention.
Yeah.
It's just to hang out with the guys and girls. There's some girls that are gonna be there. I don't talk to any of them in our hobby, but Well, I'm talking about like the crafting muse. Like Nate's really, or not Nate. Well, Nate might be, but Jake's really good friends with her. Like, so he talks about her a lot when I'm, So I'm sure I would get to meet her and stuff, but I've never talked to her. That's all. There's other people too. Like, what is it? Guinea? What's her name? Guinea
easy.
G or something?
It's easy to it's easy to talk to girls. It's okay. They're just people, Juice. You don't have
Bill.
to be nervous.
I'm not nervous about talking to girls, especially now that I'm married. Like it's a non-issue. But no, I've never had a problem talking to girls. I just had a problem getting them to date me. But I had the biggest balls when it came to, hey, go ask that girl out. All right. She's like only the most popular girl in school. Whatever. Like I remember there was this
popular girls got a date too. So yeah.
Well, she was dating, but I remember I was in a government class, and my friend who was a year younger than me, I was a sophomore. He was a year younger than me. She was a junior, and her boyfriend was a senior. Anyways, he's like, "You should go up and ask her for a number." I was like, "All right." So right out of class, we knew where her locker was because we walked by it every day, leaving the class. So I was like, I'll do it. Why not? I was like, hey, my name's blah, 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 blah. What's your name? And she's like, oh, blah, blah, blah. I was like, all right, great. What's your number? Like, look, straight to the point. Cause I didn't know how to talk to girls when I'm like 16. And she's like, I got a boyfriend. Thanks. And I'm like, oh, okay. Never mind. But it's one of those things. It's like when your friend's sitting next to you in high school and you're driven by it and they're like, no balls. And you're like, doing it. So it's never been a problem for me, but yeah, I don't know. So conventions are cool. I like conventions. I do understand where you're coming from, Bill. I don't think they're for everyone at all. There's some people who just struggle getting groups. I've found that like the idea that they can sign up for a game that sounds cool in a paragraph and go play it and maybe have a story,
Yeah.
That's not for me either. Not at all. But yeah, so I don't know. So we'll have to do this again in like 2 weeks. Cause I enjoy doing these and I do like your idea, Dave. I know you're trying to do this. I wouldn't mind doing random chats like I used to do with the one shot group and just being like, hey, Discord, you guys want to come chat? Here's the Zoom link and see if people want to join randomly on a night I don't have anything going on, So if you guys are ever interested, I can do that too. So we can get Cameron in here, maybe see his face for once. Be like Cameron or Melchior.
Oh man,
Wouldn't that be great?
I must hear Melchior's accent, right? Like I
he's
have to hear
Australian,
it.
isn't he?
Yeah, right.
Where's
I have
Cameron
to
from?
know. I have to know. Like, yeah. And actually, having Cameron and Melchior on the same stream would be amazing. Because, like, aren't they don't they always go at it? There's two that kind of always go at back and forth, right? Like, so yeah.
Yeah, we need to figure out a way to like pick teams. So it's like
Yeah.
Juce and someone else, roll stats and someone else.
Yeah.
All right.
We don't have to go
Argue
at
about
each
this
other.
RPG. Yeah. Argue about this RPG topic.
We'll just it's easy. We just talk about OSR compared to new school gaming, and Bill is in. Like you
I'm
won't
all
get to
about
talk
it.
at that point.
I'm all over it.
For sure.
It's the philosophy. It's not necessarily the rule set. God damn
So
it.
the Keep on the Borderlands game. There's a question here on that. What character? So what is the plan for that? Dave, you were going to possibly jump in occasionally. Is that still the plan, Dave? I know Bill's open to it.
I totally, actually, that's why I was hoping you were going to be on the call today, Dave. So we also have to I have to give you some background on who you're going to be playing. And yeah, I can't wait to see your interpretation. So yeah, because you're going to be able to, and actually, so I kind of need to know what your availability is too, so that I can, like, I'm not railroad. I would never say that. I would never railroad my players, but that I can sort of give them open-ended options to meet the BBEG. I mean, your NPC, Dave. Yeah, right. Like,
Yeah. No, I get it. Like the the guy that pulls the lever that determines the track. There's numerous tracks.
exactly.
Someone to pull the lever.
Exactly. The switchman. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
Cool.
But you have a lot of stuff going on now, Dave. Like, I guess what I'm asking is, does your schedule still allow for maybe attending, even if it's not even for a full session, attending for a little bit of some sessions to be able to play an NPC every once in a while, or are you going to be bogged down?
No, it's still what, Tuesday nights, the opposite week of this, right?
Of this, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah. My biggest thing is I wouldn't have been able to commit to like that full schedule, because essentially it would be weekly. So I'd either have to completely ignore patron chats or do the game. But if it's not every session, or even if it is, but it's only a limited capacity, hell, if you want, I'll pre-record stuff and you can just play things.
That would actually be pretty cool.
We'll make it like Oblivion or something, and it'll be like press X to.
It's like a video game.
That's actually, that is brilliant. That's genius. Yeah.
Bill has to invest in a
absolutely.
soundboard.
That is genius. Yeah.
So if I can't make it, I'm game to come up with something to get you there. Or even even if I don't make an appearance.
This sounds like an OnlyFans website all of a sudden. Like, he's gonna pre-record it. He'll do whatever it takes to get you there.
Premium snaps. Premium snaps, buddy.
Premium code DMs, yeah.
Oh man, I still remember that. Yeah, that is actually a great idea. So let's I'll send you a synopsis of essentially who you'll be playing, and then you can kind of flesh it out and figure out how you're going to play him. So yeah.
At the very bare minimum, you can send me the stuff, and I'll just give you my thoughts on, if I was playing this, here's how I might handle that situation, or whatever.
Perfect. Perfect.
A spin or flavor, but I'm game.
Nice.
I'm game for
Awesome.
Nice.
Yeah. All right, so let's wrap it up there. It's almost 10:30. So tomorrow, mini painting. We're going to be painting can't remember. I think she has to finish the Rogue still. And then same thing the following day. Friday, we have Monster of the Week. Bill Allen made the graphic for it. It was pretty cool. It's got like a Sleepy Hollow sign and a creepy house. Sounds like Bill Allen's playing like a stoner cable guy. We've got Dave from Nerdarchy playing a werewolf. Paula is playing some sort of like a monstrosity of some sort. We got Laura playing a 9-year-old girl with psychic powers. And then I don't remember what Tom is playing. So I will not be playing. I'm just going to be producing it, so you won't see me. But that'll be an awesome game. I'm expecting it to be hilarious. And then Saturday, we already know Tyranny of Dragons is going to be hilarious because I'm sure we're going to drop some more cats and characters.
Oh, it's going to be amazing. Yeah, I can't wait.
Yep.
Yep.
I think Crank was making death saves, wasn't he? Or did Paula heal him? I don't even remember now.
I honestly don't remember. Yeah.
She may have healed him and or stabilized him.
The rope trick. He climbed
Oh,
yeah, he
climbed
rope
up
tricked.
into the dimensional space there.
Yeah, that's gonna get old quick. I'm
And
gonna
that
have to look
Dragonborn's
into-
about to get his ass kicked.
Yes, the Dragonborn is about to kick some ass. Yes.
Yeah.
I think he's actually a half dragon, if I remember right. But yeah, it's
He's
gonna be
wish
good.
he was a full dragon.
We're gonna have a face-off between Pike, I believe, and this Dragonborn. Martin's bringing a new character from out of the woodwork somehow, so we'll figure out how to introduce that. It's gonna be awesome on Saturday, and then Sunday we are going to have persuasion check, right, Bill?
Absolutely.
And we are committing from now.
I'm feeling I'm just saying right now, I'm feeling persuasive. So
and we're committing to not talk about politics.
Yes.
Ever again.
Exactly.
Ever.
Anything else, but whatever my argument is going to be, it's going to be persuasive. So yeah.
Bill wins.
I think I need to watch
Yeah.
another episode before I can come up with a bingo card for the game.
Oh, that'd be cool.
There you go.
Got to distribute them.
So this time I think we're actually finally episode 3. We're going to talk about the character creation of Becky, correct?
I probably not. My guess is since it's Sunday, it's
Sure.
the day after our Tyranny game. We're probably just going to talk about how many
Tyranny of
people you
Dragons?
killed in the Tyranny of
Let's do
Dragons campaign. Yeah, right. Let's
Let's
talk
about
DM styles.
Tyranny
How
of Dragons.
deadly should you be, Juice? Like,
Oh, I love it. No, that's the topic right there. Sunday we're talking about evil DMs,
Yep.
Like me.
Yep. I agree.
the tyrannical Juice. And go watch Peter's video over on BN Drake. It is so good. So
I agree.
good. Ah.
I agree.
All right, guys. This was Master of the Game. I am Juice. This was Bill, Peter, Dave from Tactical Tokens, BN Drake, Roll Stats, all that. Go check them out. Links in the description below. If not,
Yes,
let me know
and-
and I'll put them in there.
Before we go real quick, let me just
Yep.
plug one thing. You should go to tacticaltokens.com and sign up for the crowd sale one day until it drops, batch 1. You can fill out your email address, get notified, tacticaltokens.com. Go buy them. So, yeah.
Do it.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Do it. So that's it, guys. Game on.